Hello, welcome to episode 296 of the Casual Tryhard podcast. I'm Brian,
And I'm James.
again.
Again.
So, we had a spirited discussion and episode yesterday that did not get recorded due to computer gremlins.
Yeah. I have
So
no
we
idea
are
what the
back
gremlin looked like, but it has been eradicated. Burn
by
it with fire.
by uninstalling and reinstalling every program associated with this podcast.
Yep.
So, do we have teal bars?
Yes, we still have the bars are working. I'm watching them move, so.
Okay. So, we might do a little commander talk,
Okay.
and we maybe not, and then we're also going to go through hopefully the rest of the cards.
I hope so, yeah. Do you want to save commander talk for the end if we have time and just try and get through the cards, or did you want
Let's
to
do that. Let's
Okay.
do that. Like, people don't come to us for commander talk.
Well, commander
And-
is the most played format, so I'm sure
It is.
most people listening own a commander deck.
Yeah. But I think commander is still going to be a smoldering pile of rubble.
Sure.
Next week.
Yep.
If it comes to that.
All right, well, let's plan on that then. Let's try and get
Yeah.
through the cards this week, and we'll do an episode all about Commander.
Yeah. So, if you want to reach out to us on social media and tell us cards we forgot or your thoughts on the dumpster fire that is current Commander, reach out to us on social media, Facebook, Discord, X going to give it to you, email. All those links are in the description. Hit those and come say hey.
Yeah, let us know what you think. Us both being basically non-commander players, outside input would be appreciated before we start spewing our feelings that ultimately don't matter because we don't play commander. So if you got inputs that you want us to consider, hit us up. If you're looking to support the show, there's a couple ways you can do it. The first is with our TCG player affiliate link, CasualTryHard.com/TCG. Pick up some cards, maybe some of the stuff that we've previously talked about, maybe some of the stuff that's in this episode. If you do your shopping at TCG Player after following our link, you will support the show at the same time. It doesn't cost you guys anything extra. The prices stay exactly the same. They just give us a little cut off the top and really helps us out, so we would appreciate that. If you want to support us more directly, you can do so at patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG. Patrons get access to our show notes. They also usually get access to an unshow, even though that was lost to... Actually, I still have the unshow. It just doesn't have any audio. So if you guys really want video with no audio and you can, like, pretend what we're saying, I can upload that for you. But typically what happens...
The bad lip reading guy.
Oh, yeah.
The bad lip reading.
Yeah.
There we go.
Typically what happens is we record about an hour-ish of content every week before we do the show, where we normally catch issues like what happened last week, even though I was asleep at the wheel and neglected to realize that we had no audio for the entire 2 hours we were recording yesterday. And we kind of catch up because we're pretty good friends that don't get to see each other that often anymore. And like to know what's going on in each other's lives. Sometimes we talk about magic stuff, sometimes we talk about not magic stuff, sometimes it's all about bridges.
You never know.
Not so much lately, though. No bridge talk lately.
Not a lot of bridges.
Yep. But if any of that sounds good to you, if you want access to the unshow, if you want to check our show notes out, or if you just want to support the show, patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG. Chip a couple bucks in, we would appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right, so get into these cards here.
Yeah, this hotel room is not going to pay for itself.
Right.
All right. So, what do we got up first? We are on green, right?
Yeah, we previously got through red, I believe. We are on to green. And our first card here is a room. Is it the second room of the set that we covered?
I think so.
Yeah. This is Greenhouse/Rickety Gazebo. The greenhouse side is 2 and a green. It's an enchantment room and has lands you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. And Rickety Gazebo is the other side of the room, 3 and a green. When you unlock this door, mill 4 cards, then return up to 2 permanent cards from among them to your hand. I don't think, like, this card isn't necessarily a player in Constructed, I don't think. Really, the only reason I wanted to talk about this, and realistically we're a little bit late now, is for limited purposes. This fixes all of your mana for whatever you plan on do in limited. A lot of times when we go through the limited archetypes, we'll take a second and talk about maybe some of the special archetypes or hidden archetypes that might be present in a limited format. I don't think we really touched on that this time too much, but a card like this is a strong signal that there is a 5-color nonsense archetype.
Mm-hmm. And like, I think that like rooms in general kind of like support the 5-color like nonsense kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right, you have like the red for the removal, the blue for the card draw, and like some of the cards are both on the same card. You can just eventually get there, and like this lets you kind of like hold all that stuff together.
Yep.
And then the other side, the Rickety Gazebo side, isn't an embarrassing Magic card.
Sure, it's a mana
like,
sink.
Yeah, it's a mana sink. Like,
I mean, it's part of a Glimmer of Genius, right?
Yeah, because you could like pay the 4 early, get the cards that you needed, and then once you like draw your cards that you were splashing or whatever, then you could activate the other side.
Sure.
All right.
Next up, we have Hedge Shredder.
Mm-hmm.
2 green for a 5/5 vehicle. When it attacks, you may mill 2 cards. And whenever 1 or more land cards are put into your graveyard from your library, put them onto the battlefield tapped. It has Crew 1.
Yes.
So I think when we recorded this yesterday, you filled me in on a little bit of info that I wasn't aware of. There's some pretty serious combo potential here.
So you can, with Ruin Crab, right? Like, is it Ruin Crab? It is Ruin Crab. Or is it Hedron Crab? One of the crabs.
They both do basically the same thing, I think.
Yeah, but the one doesn't let you target yourself.
Oh, okay.
The one that lets you target yourself, I think it's Ruin Crab. You play a land, you mill yourself. Hedge Shredder sees those lands go into your graveyard, puts them onto the battlefield. You get more landfall triggers to mill yourself. And, you know, never in the history of Magic has you not having a library led to victories.
Right.
So then at that point, you can just figure it out. Maybe you have like, if you have 2 crabs going, then like you can like mill yourself and then hopefully build up enough like triggers or enough triggers that you can then turn the gun on your opponent.
Yeah.
And mill them out. And with like 2 crabs, like it'd be really hard to miss on like 6 cards and not hit the land to keep going.
Yeah.
Because we lost an episode, I got to watch Saffron Olive's video today over lunch, where he was hedge shreddering with the iridescent vine lasher.
Oh, that's cute.
The guy who deals 1 damage. So it was like vine lash, like you get down a vine lasher and hedge shredder, then you play Phyrexian Jace and mill yourself for like 15.
Yeah.
And then like if you have Spelunking out, then they all come into play untapped, and then you can cast like another mill spell.
Yeah.
So you just mill yourself out.
Yeah, doing it.
Yeah, I also think that like that doesn't help with like the setup, like Lumra would also be good in that deck.
Yeah.
But
I thought this card was just a cool design. I don't think we've ever had that ability on a card before.
No.
So that always makes my ears kind of perk up, wondering what's going on here. It's also like not an embarrassing vehicle at face value. Like 4 mana 5/5 is, I guess, about rate for green. Crew 1's not. Might as well not be a crew cost. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, do you have a creature?
Right.
Yes. Is it Noble Hierarch? No. Cool. You can crew this vehicle.
Basically.
Is it Arboreal Grazer? It is not amazing. Hop in the lawnmower.
Yep. Hop in the lawnmower.
Yeah. So like no, I think it's like from like the like goofy line of text that we've never had before.
Mhm.
It's interesting, and the fact that it's just like a reasonable beater
Yeah.
is just like gives a card a lot of like things you can do with it.
Yeah. Now, if you're gonna put this, if you want to play this card, like what
Mhm.
kind of deck does it go? Like I know you mentioned some combo shenanigans. Um, like could this
Like it could
slot
be like
into
a
like a mid-rangey deck?
I say like could it be like in like a like Pioneer like Gruul vehicles
Yeah.
where like that plays like a Seeker's Chariot and like it'll play some bigger things like the big boat.
Hmm.
Like if you want to be a little bit lower to the ground than like big boat, like this works.
Yeah.
Also like if this is like kind of your bridge and like maybe not like a full on ramp deck, but like you play some, you get this out, and then it's like pressuring your opponent, but also simultaneously ramping you.
Hmm.
Like that's interesting as well.
Do you think this has any kind of home in like just whatever self-mill strategy? Like I mean, probably not Grease Fang, but like something Grease Fang adjacent where you have some self-mill in your deck anyway, and you're a little mid-rangey. You can make use of the 5/5 body and get some extra value while you're looking
Yeah,
for whatever you're looking for.
I mean, there's a lot of Abort Oculus decks
Yeah.
that are milling themselves that could be like Sultai or like Bant
Hmm.
and like give themselves more ways to like mill. Like, you know, you have cash grab
Hmm.
or like in like let's Pioneer, let's say your Bant so you can play oh god, what is it called? Grizzly Salvage.
Hmm.
Right. So like you're digging anyway,
Grizzly
you're putting
Salvage is
cards in your
green
graveyard.
black.
It's green black, yeah.
You said Bant.
You could be Sultai or Bant.
Yeah.
Right? Because like so being Sultai you get like Grizzly
Yeah.
Salvage. The reason that people are playing white are playing like blue white
Yeah.
is because of like helping hands in the like recommission.
Yeah.
Right. So like if you wanted to like add green for like this and cash grab
Hmm.
or like, you know, Seder Wayfinder or something,
Yep.
right? Like then you kind of have this like backdoor way that you just like generate a ton of mana.
Hmm.
I also played against I think I told you about this, like a redo of the you know the deck that was like the inspector deck, the 1/3 that you pay for that mills for,
Hmm.
and then you pay 3 and it brings all the lands back. I played
Yeah.
against a pioneer version of that with like Lumra, Omnath, and then Nissa Lotus Cobra.
Yeah.
Right? Like a deck like this where you're just like you put this in there and like you're trying to mill yourself anyway. You
Right.
want those lands to come back.
Yeah.
Right. So this is kind of like a backup Lumra, backup uh whatever the investigator is, the 1/3,
Yeah.
where like you get this out, then all that mill stuff you do just throws the lands back anyway.
Hmm.
So like it could be in something like that. That's more combo-y still.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to the next one. What do we have here?
This is mine. This is Insidious Fungus. It's
Hmm.
green for a 1/2 and for a fungus. And you can pay 2 and sack it, and you choose one. And it's destroy target artifact, destroy target enchantment, or draw a card. You may put a land from your hand on the battlefield tapped. So it's like slightly more expensive naturalize
Hmm.
or slightly more expensive explore that also can crew a head shredder,
Hmm.
can block.
Yep.
Right? It's just one of those cards that like it's like the best version of like Caustic Caterpillar.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, where Caustic Caterpillar was like one of the green to activate and didn't have the like explore like out.
Right.
And like you can also like paying 3 mana for this for that effect isn't great, but like you know, being able to like play this and like block against mono red,
Mhm.
right? Just like block a swift spear and save yourself 1 damage, and then like the next turn, like get one more block in and then do the explore on their turn,
Yeah.
right? If it saves you 3 life in an aggro matchup and then also like
Ramps you
puts
ahead.
a land into play,
Yeah.
yeah, like that's amazing.
Yep.
But like definitely could be like a sideboard card because, right, you could talk yourself into it being not embarrassing against aggro,
Mhm.
good against everything that all the random enchantments and stuff,
A
and
lot of
then oh yeah,
enchantments
by the
floating
way,
around.
there are a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Um, and then again, it has like it can be your first 2 turns.
Sure.
Right? You could like if you play this on turn 1, you're almost guaranteed to spend all of your mana on turn 2. So you're going to use all of your mana on the first 2 turns of the game. It's fine.
Yep.
Then you play your 4 drop, and you're like, I'm good at this game.
Now we're ahead.
Now we're ahead.
Off to the races. It's cool that it replaces itself too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think it'd be
Then
very
it
good
draws
if
a
it
card.
didn't, but yeah, like it provides a little bit of. It's not a completely dead top deck late game.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
if the
if you got
worst
like
thing you
6
need to do is
land,
to cash it in for a card, like that's better than having something that actually doesn't do it.
yeah, and we've already seen that like 3 mana for cycling
Mhm.
is fine,
Yep.
right? And this is effectively like 2 in a green cycle.
Yeah, it's close to.
Yeah, I mean it's got to resolve, but
Right.
I mean your
I mean, I think
your
you're
control opponent.
okay if your opponent's countering this though.
Yeah, I was gonna say your control opponent is a psycho. If they're just like, I gotta counter that one,
Yeah, can't let
I
that
gotta get
resolve.
that. Yeah, so no, I think it's good,
Yep.
and like it might find its way into cube.
Sure.
Like I could see this
I mean,
being
this
like a
has
good
cube
cube
written all
card.
over it.
Yeah, it does everything. Like, yeah,
Yep.
it's just great.
All right, next one here. This is a weird one. I had to have you
It is.
explain this to me yesterday. This is
So
Kona
go
Rescue
ahead.
Beastie.
Mm-hmm.
3 and a green for a 4/3 legendary beast survivor. It has survival. At the beginning of your second main phase, if Kona Rescue Beastie is tapped, you may put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield.
Yeah. So it's a one-sided show and tell. I guess more accurate to like a Quicksilver amulet.
Yeah,
Um, what is that? That's like 4 to cast, 4 to activate for Quicksilver amulet.
I think so, yeah.
4 and 3, something like that. It's an old card that's like pay 4 and then pay 4, tap it, and put a permanent from your hand out of the battlefield.
Yep.
So like this with work can do it the turn you play it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like if you have a vehicle, if you like head shredder and then play this,
Yep.
right? You don't have to attack. Um, the problems are one, like if you have a way to tap it, they can just kill it in combat, and you like because you like crew the vehicle before combat,
Right.
right? And then they just are like kill it, and then you don't get the effect. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like this like long drawn out thing. Uh, it's a 4/3, so like it's not gonna rumble real well in combat.
Yeah, it's also like in the range where a lot of removal spells are going to tag it. Like, I think yesterday when we first attempted this episode, you mentioned a braid. Like, that's a good one. There's
A braid, lightning strike.
yeah, that new enchantment that's like neg 3 a thing.
Mm-hmm. The fear or whatever, yeah. Yeah, so like it does have some issues,
Yeah.
but like it's
So issues aside, what kind of shenanigans can we get up to? I mean,
I
cheating
mean,
is always something we need to look out for.
oh yeah, I mean, much like if you remember the hype around shifting woodlands in modern
Mm-hmm.
of like, oh, I can turn this into an omniscience.
Yeah.
And what are we getting in November, December?
Foundations.
What's Foundations having it?
Does it have omniscience in it?
It does.
Right.
For 5 years, we're gonna have omniscience. That can't possibly go wrong.
I mean, potentially longer. Foundations is supposed to just stick around, right?
Yeah. So like you could definitely, right, like on this guy, tap, put it in omniscience,
Yep.
and then do whatever.
Whatever.
You're in Pioneer, you're Eldrazi. Like, oh, I just read Atraxa.
Sure.
Atraxa's still in standard.
Yep.
Or Atali.
Atali, yeah.
You know, like any number of things, you can just be like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'll get that one.
One of the things I had mentioned previously
Mm-hmm.
was I think this card's kind of interesting with Calling,
Yes, I like this idea a lot.
because you can use this to convoke, which is going to tap it without putting it in combat, and then put in something that gets whatever you're trying to get. Something like a Fierce Empath that goes and gets your Crater Hoof or whatever else you're going to get, and then slam that in play.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, like you do that like in current. Get Atraxa,
Hmm.
get a tally, and just be like, okay, we're doing this now.
Yep. Um, how plausible do you think it is to play this in like a different, like, because there's been a few different convoke shells, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they don't all run Court of Calling. Like, is it plausible to play this alongside like the traditional convoke cards, like the whatever the white guy is?
The Loxodon and
Yeah.
Knight Errant of Eos.
Yeah.
Uh, may I feel like that's like a different deck, right? Because
Yeah.
you need the convoke things plus then the fatty things,
Hmm.
and like trying to get all those to line up seems like less than ideal.
Yeah.
I mean, it very well could work, but like it just seems like it might be hard to make all that work.
No, I agree. Like, those decks typically want to go wide, and
Yeah,
they're not going to have like a big thing to go over the top like this.
yeah, like it wants something like I don't think, right, like I could see in limited where like you get to like get a little bit ahead on mana and maybe you put a 3-drop in.
Yeah.
Right, but like that's not what this card is like going to do in constructed when you can just put like what is this, Valgavoth?
Yeah.
Right? Like I can turn for my Valgavoth, yes please. Like we're gonna do that as many games as humanly possible.
Yep.
So I think this card's up to no good, but I don't know if it's good enough. Like we've seen a lot when they put the like effect from an enchantment onto a creature that
Yeah.
like increase fragility, kind of like hurts it because I was thinking like Fauna Shaman,
Yep.
right? Fauna Shaman versus like survival,
Right.
right? Like Quicksilver Amulet being an artifact kind of insulates it
Hmm.
from a lot of removal and interaction. Like, could you imagine like you crew your vehicle with this and you attack and like they Wandering Emperor it and you're just like,
Yeah.
oh man, like you didn't have a chance. So yeah, I don't know. Like I think it can do cool things
Hmm.
as someone who likes to do broken stuff, but I don't know if it's like robust enough or if we have like the tools to make it consistent.
Yeah. All right. Cool card though, nonetheless.
It
I
is.
dig
It
it. And
is.
I don't know how I missed this like first go around. It seems like a card that I would pick up on pretty quick, and
You're like, oh, this is something dumb.
yeah. Yep, definitely. We have one more green card. This is Monstrous Emergence. 1 and a green for a sorcery. As an additional cost to cast this spell, choose a creature you control or reveal a creature from your hand. Monstrous Emergence deals damage equal to the power of the creature you chose or the card you revealed to target creature.
Okay, real quick. Are we still recording? Because this is where we died last time.
We are still recording. I still have
Excellent.
audio.
Okay, we
Thank you for
powered through.
checking, though.
But this was the cursed card, so we had
It
to
was,
check.
yep.
Um, so this card has like it's a bite spell,
Hmm.
right? So it has that going for it. Like I feel like we've slowly phased fight out, and green just does bite now.
Well, I think it's a speed restriction thing, right? Bites are typically sorcery speed, and fights are typically instant speed.
Okay, I hadn't noticed that, but I could definitely see that.
Yeah. Well, keep an eye out
Um,
going forward. Next time we do a
I
set
will.
review.
Well, I'll look.
Yeah.
Or like I think the bites are off, or the fights are now like 1 mana a lot of times now, like Prey Upon.
Yeah.
Like that seems like where they want to do that. But anyway, um, so this has the it has the as an additional cost,
Hmm.
pick a creature, which means even if as soon as you put it on the stack, you have to pick the creature, so they can't kill the creature in response
Yeah.
because the monstrous emergence is what's dealing the damage, not the creature. It's just getting the number off the creature.
Right.
And then the reveal from your hand, that is the same as was Call of the Forever Beast.
Hmm.
We had to look this up yesterday.
Yep.
But that was 2 and a green, and it only had to reveal a creature from your hand.
Right.
It didn't have the creature on the battlefield. So what this card's really good for is okay, fine, you've got your creature down, you can fight, but let's say you're a ramp deck and you got your 8-drop in your hand, you can still use your 8-drop to fight the creature that you need to kill.
Right.
And so that makes it so you you actually have removal in that big mana green deck before you get to your thing, right? Because you know, fight spells and bite spells suck when you're staring at the thing that you need to fight with
Yeah.
in your hand, and you're just and then you draw this, and you're like, oh my gosh, this card does nothing. It's
Yeah.
oh no, now it actually is just kill a thing.
So I have two questions about this card.
Okay.
The first is, I don't know if you remember this or not, but once upon a time when we were doing tournament prep at Cameron's house,
Okay.
a question came up about last known information.
Yes.
This, that kind of thinking applies here, right? That's what you mean by
It gets the number.
it gets the number.
Yeah. So if you pick a 5/5 and they Doomblade it,
Yeah.
it was a 5/5 when it was picked.
Right.
So that's the information. But I do believe if they dismember it and they give it -5,
Last known
the
information.
last known information is 0.
Yeah.
So it does, so that it would deal 0. So
Yeah.
it depends on how it dies. So yes, in the not super cornish case, but in a neg X situation, or some blue spell that's neg 3 neg-0.
Yeah.
The neg 3 neg-0 would be the information that it saw.
Okay. My other question is, what about Grist? Because Grist is a creature in your hand, but it doesn't have power.
I mean, would it be any different than a Boreal Grazer? He's getting a lot of shine today. Right? It's just you picked a creature that's an 0/3.
I mean, maybe, but Arboreal Grazer has power. Its power is just 0. Grist just doesn't have power.
Yeah, so
I mean, I would assume there's something in the rules that says it's 0,
it's just
but
0.
That's another weird corner case.
It is a weird corner case. You've got your Modern Horizons cards, and you're just draft common. Get in there, buddy.
Get in there, buddy.
Let's go.
It's your time to shine, Monstrous Emergence.
Yeah. This is another one that if I didn't have kind of the artifact token sub theme,
yeah,
where I'm playing, I think it's Stew the Conies, the one that makes a food, right? This would be a perfect cube fight spell, because hey, are you in red green and you're gonna have creatures?
Yeah.
Card is good. Are you in blue green and you're gonna have a creature in your hand on turn 5 because you haven't got to 8 mana? This card is still good.
Yep.
So,
all
but
right.
yeah, this card's super cool, and the art is, I don't know what's going on with that mouth.
I mean, it kind of
thing.
Obviously it's hands with something coming out of them, but it kind of looks like Flicker Wisp, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, I guess it kind of does. Yeah.
Yeah. Weird.
It is.
All right, so we are done with green. Moving on to our singular multicolor card.
All right.
This is Kaito, Bane of Nightmares. It's 2 blue-black for a 4 loyalty planeswalker Kaito. It has ninjutsu, 1 blue-black. Not going to read the reminder text. During your turn, as long as Kaito has 1 or more loyalty counters on him, he's a 3/4 ninja creature and has hexproof. And you can +1 it to get an emblem with ninjas you control, get +1/+1. And 0 to surveil 2, then draw a card for each opponent who lost life this turn. And -2, tap a creature, put 2 stun counters on.
Okay.
This is kind of a weird card. It has like super Gideon vibes.
It does. But they worded it differently. So I do believe, from what I have seen other people say, that it taking damage doesn't lower its loyalty as in creature form. So when it's a creature and you block it, it doesn't lose loyalty, I'm pretty sure.
Why is that?
Because it's not a creature in addition to its other types. It's just a creature.
Oh. Well, then how do you ever activate a loyalty ability?
I think it's a creature with loyalty abilities, but
Oh,
not
really?
a planeswalker. I think.
Wow, that's super weird.
I'm not 100% sure. So I was watching Doomwake stream.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no like additional rules text on Reddit. I am a human Reddit. Why are you asking me these things?
Because it's Reddit.
Yes, I guess. But he was saying that like people were in his stream were saying no, like it doesn't lose
because it's not a planeswalker. That's weird.
Yeah, let me see here. I have some rulings here. No. I'll talk about ninjutsu.
Oh.
Okay. Oh. Kaito's second ability causes him to stop being a planeswalker during your turn, as long as he has at least 1 loyalty counter on him.
Interesting.
Oh, he's a creature. Damage dealt to him won't cause loyalty counters to be removed. You can still activate Kaito's loyalty abilities.
Interesting.
So it is a creature
with loyalty abilities
that has loyalty abilities, because I guess this means that loyalty abilities are not just tied to planeswalkers.
Yeah.
Any permanent can have loyalty abilities.
Hmm.
So this is reverse Grist.
It is, yeah. That's what I was just thinking.
Grist is a creature everywhere but on the battlefield, and Kaito is a planeswalker everywhere but on your turn.
Right.
On the battlefield. So yeah, so remember how like Gideon used to be like all damage dealt to Gideon was like set to 0?
Yeah.
Because like Gideon would like stay a planeswalker.
Mm-hmm.
Like this does not stay a planeswalker.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yes, very weird.
Like I wasn't even. I mean, obviously that's a parallel to draw here. Is most Gideons turned into a creature, and this also turns into a creature. Mm-hmm. But I meant more the loyalty abilities. Like it gives me super like Gideon vibes. You get an emblem to buff all your creatures. You get to. I mean, I guess the rest of them don't super relate to being. That +1 for an emblem does.
And like, was it Gideon Jura? Was the like a creature had to like attack Gideon?
Oh yeah, that's kind of
right, that's kind of like
the
tapping it.
Yeah.
Like it like takes it. It makes it so it can't block at least.
Yeah.
Right, and like Gideon just had like so much loyalty, you have to do that a couple times.
Yeah.
Before Gideon bit it, and like 2 stun counters is like don't have to think about this thing for a bit.
Yeah, you got some time to figure it out.
Yeah, you got some time to like figure out how to deal with it, or to just kill them.
Right.
Right, because like, you know, if you ninjutsu this in, and then they like play a blocker, you tap the blocker, and now this is a 3/4 that smashes them.
Mm-hmm.
And then like you play some other stuff, and the next turn you can cash it in.
Right.
To get the other blocker out of the way to get a bunch of damage in.
Yeah.
Um,
Not that I think it's going to come up super often, but you can like ninjutsu a Kaito off of a Kaito and just keep something locked down, or keep two things locked
my
down
God.
basically forever.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
While
You
beating
could
him in
just,
the
like,
face.
you could just like double Kaito.
Yeah.
Like just the loop. Also, like, if this Planeswalker is 3 mana, it's pretty good,
Oh yeah.
right? And like the ninjutsu cost makes it 3 mana.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't just make it cost 3 mana, but you're getting 3 damage in too.
Mm-hmm. So like, yes, you are like behind on tempo a little bit with the thing you played before, but like damage wise, you're probably at parity or a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that like I think we've talked about before is with static planeswalkers is like, is that static ability, is it a plus? Is it a minus?
Yeah.
And like I think that like if it's an ability that you would like kind of activate if it were on another planeswalker,
Mm-hmm.
like we've all turned getting into a creature before. Like
Absolutely.
you're just getting kind of double activation out of your planeswalker.
Yep.
Right? Like you're zeroing it or plussing it if it were a Gideon to make it a creature,
Mm-hmm.
and then you get to do something else.
Right.
So like, I'm not saying like run out and buy this, because like the actual plus is pretty narrow. Like how many ninjas are there like in standard? Right? Not a bunch. And like, is it good enough for Pioneer? Probably not.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe if they print more ninjas or whatever. But like you're getting kind of like double activations of your planeswalker.
Mm-hmm. I can see that. All right, moving on from multicolor to artifacts and lands. This
There
next
you go.
one, I believe, is one of yours.
Yeah.
I'll let you take it.
It's a Ghost Vacuum. It is 1 for tap, exile, target card from a graveyard. And then you can pay 6 and tap it, sacrifice Ghost Vacuum, put each creature card exile with Ghost Vacuum onto the battlefield under your control with a flying counter on it. Each of them is a 1/1 spirit in addition to their other types. Activate only as a sorcery.
Before you go any further, can I interject here?
Sure.
The first 2 drafts that I did of this format
Okay.
had a Ghost Vacuum in them.
Okay.
And both decks, I drafted nothing but removal. And I just Ghost Vacuumed everything and then spit it back out at them.
Did it work?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, both of them I think were 6-win decks.
Nice. Better than like any of my drafts. So pack one, pick one, vacuum, check.
Yep.
So we don't have a 1 mana repeatable way to remove a target card from a graveyard.
We don't?
Right? No, like Scrabbling Clause is like opponent or target player exiles a card from their graveyard.
Yeah.
Same with Relic. Oh god, Soul Guide later comes in, it exiles a target card.
That's true.
But then you just eat the whole thing.
Yep.
So like this is a faster to get down Unlicensed Hearse, but Unlicensed Hearse got 2 cards instead of 1. But like, so like you can play this and then like pick off specific cards.
Yeah.
As opposed to what Relic or Scrabbling Clause would do. And then like you said, like when the game stalls out, right now you just have 6 mana, get 4 or 5 1/1 flyers and all the various ETBs.
Right.
Or I guess like it's not even ETBs, it's just activated abilities as well.
Yep.
Cool Gristle brand, I'll draw 7.
Oh yeah.
The baby brand. It's a 1/1.
It's a
It's a
1/1.
1/1. So yeah, like it does something that we've not seen before.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh. So like, did you during Outlaws of Thunder Junction, did you like follow any of the crime decks that were getting played?
I don't think so.
So there's the Magda that like you make a treasure,
Yeah.
and then there's I forget what it's called. The green one that like if you commit a crime, you look at the top however many cards and put a land into play.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they were playing Scrabbling Claws in Pioneer to have repeatable ways to commit crimes.
Oh, okay.
And this is infinitely better than Scrabbling Claws,
Yeah.
right? Because it targets a card.
Right.
And I think I'm gonna check because I'm like pretty sure Scrabbling cards. I looked it up yesterday, but it was a long time ago. Pretty
Yesterday
sure it
was a
does
long
not.
time ago.
Yeah, target. Yeah, target player removes a card in his or her graveyard from the game. So I guess yeah, target player exiles a card from their graveyard. So yeah, so this like being that it targets a specific card, it commits a crime, and then again, where Scrabbling Claws, you don't kind of get the buyout of like maybe win the game. You
Mm-hmm.
get like the buyout of like exile one card
Right.
and draw a card. So like this kind of does that repeatable crime thing,
Mm-hmm.
but also like gives you a way like in the late game to kind of like win
Yep.
if it comes to such things.
Yeah, it's a cool card. Does a lot for 1 mana, just kind of sitting on the battlefield doing whatever. And I mean, like unless you're playing aggro, you're not doing anything your first turn anyway.
Yeah.
And like an aggro deck doesn't.
Yeah, and I mean like it's a fine sideboard card. Like if
Mhm.
you took the 6 mana activated ability off, it's still a card that would see play in sideboards and standard.
Oh, for sure.
Right? It's like better Scrabbling Claws
Yep.
with like
I will
no
take
other
you off
text.
Delirium.
Exactly. I will take that thing with 2 types.
Yep.
Neat.
All right. Next up, we have. Ooh, this is another one of yours.
Oh yeah. Marvin Murderous Mimic. It is 2 mana for a 2/2. And Marvin Murderous Mimic has all activated abilities of creatures you control that don't have the same name as this creature. So it's just a way to get get a creature with like weird a weird combination of abilities.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take a whole lot to put together like
Some
I go
shenanigans
infinite.
to win.
Like,
You can basically look up, just Google search for Necrotic Ooze combos, and like you'll find a way for this guy to win the game. Very similar ability in play instead of in your graveyard.
Yeah. And I mean, a colorless 2 mana 2/2, like it's almost made some of my limited decks where I'm like, this guy's just a 2/2 if things go like terrible.
It's a grizzly bear.
It is as grisly as a bear can get.
I'm kind of disappointed it doesn't have Changeling.
Oh, that'd be a good point. Like if it was a changeling toy.
Well, I mean, it's a mimic.
Yeah, it should.
Yeah.
Metallic Mimic was like a construct, which again, lost opportunity.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like now they would just like have made it a changeling, but maybe I'm wrong because they missed the boat here.
All right.
All right.
One more card, and then we're into cycles.
All right, let's go.
This is Valgavoth's Lair. It is an enchantment land. That's the important part. It also has hexproof. When it enters tapped, and you pick a color, and then you get 1 mana of the chosen color by tap.
Is this our? Okay, this is our second enchantment land.
Mm-hmm.
The first that stays around for more than 3 turns.
Yep.
But this one just doesn't win the game by itself.
Yeah, it does not just take over the game.
Yeah, the other one's Urza Saga if you're like not getting what I'm putting down.
Yeah.
So It has hexproof, so it doesn't get disenchanted.
Oh, I was wondering why it had hexproof. That makes a lot of sense.
Right, like you play this and then like for 1 mana they natural state you,
Yeah, or
and
erase.
you just yeah, this is 1 mana Stone Rain.
Yeah.
So that's what I think is like just to protect it from getting like swept up in all the random enchantment hate that's going around.
Yeah.
My first thought is like everyone who owns Sarah Sanctums are like, come on,
Mm-hmm.
let's go. I
Absolutely.
don't know. I also don't know how Valgavas Lair, a place that seems very specific. Some would say perhaps a legendary place of renown in this on this plane is not a legendary land.
I mean, you don't. Maybe Velgavoth has multiple layers.
He just yeah, he just has timeshares all over the haunted house that is him. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so like, I think that I was messing around with boggles
Mm-hmm.
on Arena, which the best Pioneer legal boggle they still haven't put on Arena.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're lying to us and telling us that we're gonna get like most of Pioneer on Arena for like the last 2 years or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like you go to look for stuff and you're like, oh, that's not here. Like, I don't know. Dragalord Dramoka, not on Arena.
Yeah.
Linvala the Preserver, not on Arena. Anyway, um, but like this plays really nice with ethereal armor,
It does.
right? It gives you an extra thing for ethereal armor.
Yep.
Um, I just had a thought. Is there like a um Ensoul artifact but for enchantment?
I don't think there is.
I don't think there is either. But like I say it and you don't go like, well, they could never do that.
Oh, they could totally do it.
Right? Like this seems like a like good thing to wear like the Ensoul artifact for enchantments when it gets printed in a while.
Is there not one? Maybe there is one.
I don't I mean, I don't know. There might
Opalescence.
okay, that's OGA.
Yeah,
But this would die
it would.
to opalescence.
Oh, you just want to make it a 5/5.
Or like a three, like something where you like put
Yeah.
another enchantment on it. Let's see, target enchantment becomes creature. Survey says. Uh, hmm. Okay, that didn't work because I have everything that is like destroyed enchantment or turn a land into a creature.
Oh.
It's like no. Oh, but we have infinite things that just like turn a creature into a 0/0 elemental with 3 counters on it.
That's true.
We have infinite of those.
Yep.
So like that's something like just turn it into a creature, and now you have like you have a boggle
Mm-hmm.
that has you have a boggle.
Yep.
There you go.
An
We
enchantment
did
boggle.
it. We made an enchantment boggle that wears ethereal armors really well.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, the other thing that I don't think we've touched on yet that's important about Velgavoth's Lair is for delirium shenanigans.
oh yeah,
It is 2 card types when it's in your bin for turning on delirium or whatever else.
So I don't remember. I don't know if you remember this. So I bought my Seraph Sanctums before we went back to Theros because I was like, oh, it makes sense that they will make enchantment lands in Theros.
Yep.
This would seem to be the place. And they didn't do it. But there was apparently an article or something where Morrow said that they had like thought about it and decided not to.
Oh.
And so like this is like you had Urza Saga, which like the fact that it's an enchantment doesn't really matter.
Right.
right? It's just busted, would be busted in all ways, shapes, and forms.
Yep.
Um, but like this is kind of their first like this just plays like a normal land, but it is an enchantment
Hmm.
that they have ever done. So maybe this is opening up like space for that to happen
Sure.
in the future.
Yeah, I could see that.
Where they're like, well, this didn't break anything because like when they did the artifact lands, they were like, here's all 5 artifact lands at common
Yeah.
in a set that cares about artifacts.
Well, with no downside. I mean, at least this ender's tapped.
Yeah, but like, so this is kind of like dipping their toes in.
Yep.
And if this is all right, like you could see like over the next couple years that like maybe they'll do one that comes into play untapped.
Yeah, I don't know that they're gonna
Uh,
do anything at the same level as like Vault of Whispers or whatever.
yeah, I mean, but there's not like affinity or okay, there probably is like one random like affinity for enchantments card.
Well, I mean, you don't need like straight up affinity for enchantments, so you have things like ethereal armor or
Yeah,
all
fair.
that glitters or like the million creatures they've printed that draw a card when an enchantment enters a battle. Like every
Okay.
land in your deck just cantrips now.
Fair, fair. Okay. I got you. I guess it would be like nutty with is like Sethis is Sethis on cast or on like ETB.
I don't remember.
But whatever. If it's on ETB, you're just like, oh yeah, like all of my lands just like cantrip. Okay.
Yeah,
Point taken. But like this is them like dipping their toes into that like design space.
yeah. I mean, I could definitely
So
see them doing more, but I don't know that you're gonna get just like a
I mean
freebie enchantment land. Like it's an
maybe
island,
you
but it's
get
an enchantment.
maybe you get like the tapped ones. So
Maybe,
kind of like the bridges
maybe.
from Modern Horizons 2.
Yeah, I guess I could see that.
Where like where like indestructible is kind of an artifact thing,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe in I think hexproof is more of an enchantment thing.
Shroud,
Right? There's
or
a
not shroud,
yeah
ward.
yeah. There's like a lot of right. There's a lot of enchantments that give all of your other permanents
Yeah,
hexproof. Right? So you can see like the like safety valve is they all have hexproof
yeah,
as opposed and then the artifact lands all have indestructible,
yeah.
and that's kind of how you differentiate. But
I could see that.
yeah, look at us designing.
I know.
Sign us up. Sign us up.
Scary. All right, moving on to some cycles. How do you want to do these cycles?
Um, maybe we can like I don't know. The impending one's hard because they're all kind of good,
Yeah.
but
All right, well, let's just talk about all of them. I do want to let you know that we are 55 minutes in.
okay, we'll keep it tight.
We'll do the impending ones first.
Okay,
This
well,
is
maybe we don't have to do all of them individually. Maybe we can just kind of like. So let's try this. So impending, we talked about is there's a cost. The card comes into play as not a creature, it's just an enchantment, and they all have an ETB that
mhm,
you get whether you cast them as a creature or as the weird like pseudo creature enchantment thing. You can box me out, it's fine. He's slowly putting them all up on the screen.
trying
Uh,
to.
so the white one comes in and makes 2/1/1 flyers, and you get 2/1/1 flyers when it attacks.
Yep,
And the blue one comes in and draws you
two
two
cards.
cards and you can discard a card. The black one has the lowest, so the white one has is 2 white with impending 4. They all have impending. Well, no, they don't. Uh, all but the black one have impending 4. The black one because its impending cost is 1 in the black. It is uh it has a impending 5
Mhm,
just because it is so cheap they didn't want it to come down. They didn't want to get to a 5/5 that early.
right.
Um, so the black one is seeing like Pioneer play. Um, so it's getting played in. I've seen it in Greasefang.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
right? Like it gives you
You mill
an
4
extra.
cards and return a non-avatar creature planeswalker from your graveyard to your hand.
So it helps you find Greasefang,
Yep.
and it gives you like an extra type for, if you wanted to traverse the Ulvenwald kind of stuff,
Yep.
where you have that extra type that you didn't have before.
Yep.
And you could like find this thing off of a Grizzly Salvage to kind of like keep digging for your next thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it also like if they like shut off your graveyard, you just have like a thing you can play on two that eventually just like becomes a 5/5 beater that they have to deal with.
Yeah.
And the green one, um, it is you can think of it as what was it? Territorial Stopper. So remember
Yeah.
Territorial Stop? Yeah. So like, right, Territorial Stopper was one green green for a 4/4 that wouldn't search your library for a deck. Search your library for a deck. Search your library for a land and put it into play,
Mm-hmm.
and then couldn't attack or block until you had 7 lands or something. Or like
Something
seven.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is one green green for when it enters, make a token that is a land
Every land.
called, yeah, that is everywhere,
Yeah.
that is every land type. So this is 3 mana, get Delirium.
Basically.
Not Delirium. Gosh.
Domain.
Domain.
Yeah.
Yeah, Domain. 3 mana, get Domain. So it's amazing with Leyline Binding.
Yep.
Right? So like the standard Domain decks might be able to play this pretty effectively.
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing it in Enigmatic Incarnation because now I've been playing like kind of a different version, just kind of like messing around. But like these all, even with their impending costs, their mana costs the are still their upper right hand corner.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have out like a
Kind of
up
like
the
with
beanstalk,
prototype.
yeah, exactly. Well,
Yeah.
no prototype it changed, right?
Oh, that's right. It did change. Yep.
So, but with these, if you have out a up the beanstalk, and then you play an Overlord of the Hauntwoods, you get to draw a card off of your up the beanstalk,
You do.
and then you get your land. So now you have domain. So now your leyline bindings are all cheap.
That's right on time
And
too. 2 into 3.
uh-huh, yeah. And then on 4, if you play Enigmatic Incarnation, you get a 6,
Yeah.
like Overlord of the Boiler Bilges. That comes down and for something your opponent has on the battlefield.
Yep.
So like I've been messing around with the green one and the blue one because they both do the on 2 play up the beanstalk, on 3 get an effect
Yeah.
and put a 5-drop into play, and then if you have the Enigmatic Incarnation on 4, go get a 6.
Yeah. I think the like of them though, I think the blue one's probably the weakest, right?
It probably is. Like the green one's great.
Yeah.
Like you just like if you can cast it, like you're kind of set on like you fixed your mana and it's a 6/5. Um the red one, if it sticks, is just like cool, kill
Brutal.
your thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, kill the next thing. It's just um oh gosh, Inferno Titan.
Yep.
Um and like the blue one, since it's a 5/3, like it has that same thing that like a Kona
Oh no.
has, where like it just gets to be killed by like cheap removal
Right.
as opposed to like things that actually matter.
Mm-hmm.
But like I was playing it in the Fable the Mirror Breaker spot
Okay.
because it does kind of Fable things, right? Like
Yeah.
yes,
Similar.
you like the
Does the
you like the
filtering part.
token, yeah, it does the filtering part, but then instead of being turned into a 4, it gets turned into a 6,
Yeah.
which is a big game.
Yep.
Um, and then like I don't know like if Overlord of the Mistmorse has like a constructed home, but like it is a house in limited.
I really want it to. I love me some Gravy Train.
Yeah, I mean, it would not be unreasonable if you like, so like you get a couple sevens in enigmatic incarnation,
Yeah,
right? And they're usually Titan of Industry and Atraxa.
yeah,
But like, because that's basically your only sixes or your leyline bindings.
yeah.
But like, if you have Overlord or the Boiler Bilges, and you're kind of set up to go three to uh three to three to
3 to 6.
six, right? Like, and if you have like the Overlord and maybe like uh another like enchantment creature or like just two Overlords that you could get that like keep the chain going.
Yeah,
Because like usually what happens is there aren't good 6 mana enchantment creatures that you could like sack to go get your like 1/7.
right.
But like you could maybe play like an Overlord of the Mistmores because like a lot of times in that deck when you're playing, you just want like your 7 to somehow stabilize you,
Yeah, I mean
right?
this
Like
stabilizes.
yeah, this puts 3 blockers out
Yeah,
and is a 6/6, right? Like you know, as Marshall said on his on their set review, it feels like they would have put more keywords on these cards,
if there was
but they
room.
ran out of space,
Yeah,
right? Because like you could definitely see the white one having lifelink,
yeah,
the green one having trip, the blue one has flying because I think it was like the weakest of the bunch,
yeah, definitely.
and they're like we have to do something
Yep.
to like make to like try to balance it. But like you could definitely like have seen like if the white one had lifelink, like it would be the 7 drop that you'd want to turn your leyline binding into
Yeah,
because you'd just be like, oh, like you have to kill this or I can never lose to aggro.
right.
Uh, and also it's hard for control to beat because they kill the big one and there's still 4 flying power. Like it would just kind of do all of it.
Yeah, if they don't wrath it, they're still in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. But like these are really interesting and like I think that like especially with like enigmatic incarnation, these are just like an interesting like thing because they are enchantment creatures. If they weren't enchantment creatures, they'd be less interesting, I think.
No, I think so too.
And the green one, I think the green one right now is going for like $20.
Is it?
Yeah, because it's like the most expensive of the bunch. I think the black one's like 8
Yeah,
and the blue one's like 4 or something. So like the green one is the one that everyone's like excited about.
yeah,
And like I understand why, because like it feels so good when you're just like want to pay 3 mana. And what's great is, right, if you like have your 4th land drop and that resolves, what are you doing on turn 4 if you're not casting Enigmatic Incarnation? You're playing another 6/5 that puts the land into play, or you're playing a 5/3 flyer that drew you 2 cards and like you had to discard one. Like you're like doing something impactful with like all of these fives in your hand.
right.
Right. So they kind of like curve into each other to some degree,
Mm-hmm.
where you just like, oh, if I hit my 4th land drop, I'm gonna cast some enormous 5. So they are cool.
Yeah, no, I think they're cool too. They're all interesting designs.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not the blue one, but I think the rest of them are all interesting.
Yeah, the blue one's kind of like, eh. Like I don't. I guess I needed to give it flying to kind of differentiate it, because then it would just not. It wouldn't feel blue.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's kind of the least like. If it was like a 5/4, maybe it'd be better. But it's like the smallest one. Like, why is the white one the biggest one?
I don't know.
Like, it doesn't
It's
make
white
any.
gravy train,
I guess, yeah. They just come.
sausage gravy train.
Good job, good job,
Yeah.
good job. Sausage gravy train.
All right. On that note,
Moving on.
moving on to the enduring cycle. Do you want to talk about all of these like we did the impending cards, or are there some that you
If you
think?
want,
Okay.
I don't know if did we talk about the like the enduring mechanic
Yeah,
in the mechanics?
we did.
Okay. So the white one is like the whitest card to ever white,
Well, it's a
right?
sheep.
Like It's a sheep, fair. But like it's a 2/1 that cares about you putting small creatures into play.
Right.
And it has lifelink, like the whitest design like
Yeah.
ever.
It's like basically Mentor the Meek. 3 mana,
It is.
2 power, cares about little stuff, draws you cards.
Mm-hmm.
I guess for people that may not have listened to that episode, all of this cycle, so these 5 enduring cards, all stick around as an enchantment after they die. So they start as a creature, and then when they die, they return to the battlefield as an enchantment. So it's kind of their shtick. This one is 2 white for a 2/1 with lifelink, and whenever one or more other creatures you control the power 2 or less enter, draw a card. This ability triggers each turn. It's basically Mentor the Meek.
Yeah.
Because you're probably not going to trigger Mentor the more than once.
Welcoming Vampire is also like has like the
that is
exact
just
same
one.
text.
Yep.
Because Mentor the Meek, didn't you have to pay 1?
I think you have to pay 2. That's why I said you're probably not going to trigger it more than once a turn.
Oh yeah. But it's like Welcoming Vampire.
Yep. It's a better parallel. Good.
Yeah, thank you. That's why you pay me.
Pay you an exposure.
Exposure. With my terrible fluorescent light that makes me look like I'm sunburnt.
That's all right. My lighting's awful lately. I got to do something about that soon. The blue one here is Enduring Curiosity. 2 blue for a 4/3. It's a cat, and it has flash, and it's Curiosity. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, and then when it dies, it becomes an enchantment.
This is like the most tempo-y card to ever tempo.
Definitely.
Again, Saffron Olive on Monday, his video was watch me just play mono blue crappy cards and a bunch of counter spells, and then this.
Yeah.
And
sounds about right.
Like the fact that it has flash.
Yeah.
Like just everything. Like what was the stupid wolf that made wolves? Nightpack Ambusher.
Nightpack Ambusher. Yep.
Yeah, I hated that card. This card seems like infinitely better than Nightpack Ambusher.
Better? I'd say it's about the same.
Okay.
Like Nightpack Ambusher, you didn't have to pay mana for the cards that it drew you. It just made them.
Oh yeah, it just made 2/2s. Fair.
Yeah. So while it may be like the 2/2 may be a worse card, you didn't have to pay for it. So.
Yeah. And I'd like to point out that this is not when 1 or more creatures deals damage.
Right.
If 3 creatures deal damage,
3 cards.
you draw 3 cards.
Yeah. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. The black one is Enduring Tenacity. 2 black for a 4/3. Are they all 4/3s? No, the white one was a 2.
Yeah, white was a 2/1.
It's a snake. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life, and when it dies, it.
Is this Sanguine Bond? Or Innocent Blood?
Yeah, it's one of them. One of the 2. I don't remember which.
That was like super expensive that like I just got off of when I sold all of my like secret layers.
Yeah.
Because it was like a secret layer. I mean, this card doesn't really have a place in 60 card formats, I don't think, but like
it does in Commander.
As an amazing Commander card.
Yeah.
Like because this is just an effect that people love.
Yep. I mean, I have a Dina Brawl deck.
Okay. There you go.
It does the Dina thing.
It does. The red one is brutal and limited.
Oh, holy moly. I have both won games because of this card and lost miserably to this card.
Yeah, it's just embarrassing. So it's 2 red for a 3/3 Dog Glimmer. And when another creature you control enters, it gets +2/+0 and gains haste until end of turn.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't target itself, right? So it's not like Reckless Stormseeker.
Yep.
But
it is Ogre Battle Driver,
yes,
Taskmaster.
Yeah, whatever. Something like that.
From M14.
Yeah, but like, and the fact it dies into staying around.
Yeah.
Right, like
that's the biggie.
This into like an Ezekiel's Chariot.
Oh
and
man.
you just get 8 power worth of like angry cats attacking.
Gross.
Yeah. So I think the card, like, I don't know if it has a home in like a constructed format, but it is really good limited.
Really good. This
And then
is.
enduring by go ahead.
I was, I was just gonna read it. Enduring Vitality. 1 green for a 3/3. Elk. It has vigilance, and creatures you control have tap. Add 1 mana of any color. When it dies, it comes back.
Yeah.
Fixes your
So
mana.
it's Cryptolith rights.
Yep, Cryptolith, right? Could be a massive ramp.
It gets the ability as well.
Yep.
So like it is like just a 3 mana dork on its own.
Yep. Well, hopefully it's more than 1 mana dork. Hopefully it's a bunch of them.
Yeah. Hopefully, yeah. Like it's reasonable. I was interested in these. Like the reason I got on the whole like enigmatic incarnation train was
Oh
like
yeah,
initially like, these all give you double fodder,
they sure do.
right? So I tried like enduring courage, but like it does not synergize well because like oh I'll just play a creature and it'll get haste, and then it's like well you put all your creatures in at the end of turn,
Right.
so it doesn't really do
Yeah, it
anything.
doesn't matter.
Like the only other one that like makes any sense in that deck is this. But
Yeah.
like I think Overlord of the Hauntwoods is just better at like
Yeah.
3 mana ramp
Yeah, I
than
think so.
this is. So like it kind of didn't like make sense. But like maybe there's a different version of that deck where you're just like getting things in for value and like being able to like double sack.
Yeah, could be.
Could be interesting.
Then we have some ley lines. We have Leyline of Hope, 2 white for an enchantment. If it's all of the ley lines have the ley line text, if it's in your opening hand, you may begin the game with it on the battlefield. And the white one also has, if you would gain life, you gain that much life +1 instead. And as long as you have at least 7 or more than your starting life total, creatures you control get +2/+2. I know this effect was strong on Righteous Valkyrie.
Mm-hmm.
Is it strong on a ley line?
I think the reason it was so strong on Valkyrie is Valkyrie did all 3 parts that you needed to do.
Yeah.
It had power and toughness.
Yep.
It gained you life.
Yep.
And then it paid you off.
Yep.
Right? This is the payoff, and it kind of gains you life, but you have to put together the things that initially gain you life to get the +1.
Yep.
So right, so it's only really the payoff and like a bad enabler.
Yeah.
Where like Righteous Valkyrie was like an enabler and the payoff all in one card.
Yeah, I think the other thing that sets it apart a little bit is the mana cost. Like Valkyrie was 3 mana, this is 4 mana. The upside of it being a ley line is that maybe you don't have to pay for it, in which case it starts on the battlefield and you can hopefully get into it cheap. But if you're doing things that are going to accelerate this, you're like not going to be making use of an anthem. Like you're probably not going to be super wide if you're, hard focused on being at 27 life on turn 3.
And also like those decks, right? Valkyrie benefits from being 3 mana, so you can company.
Yep.
Like I had an opponent, like playing green white life gain, who cast a company on turn 4, going into their turn 5 or something, and had a Valkyrie out, and then put out 2 whatever the 1 white 3/3 that like puts an angel in play if you gain 5.
First Splendid Angel.
Put 2 of those out.
Yeah.
And then was I get 50 and attacked me for like 1 million.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, this is not okay. So, yeah, I think that like there's a lot that doesn't like line up to make that good.
Yeah, I don't think it's great. Speaking of not great, we have the blue one. Leyline of Transformation, 2 blue, leyline text. As it enters, you choose a creature type, and creatures you control are the chosen type in addition to their other types. Same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. So same as whatever that blue card was from Ixalan, right?
A something adaptation?
Yeah. Arcane adaptation?
Maybe it's like 2 and a blue.
Yeah.
Like a guy swimming underwater with like a shell. Can't remember the name of it, but I can tell you the art. Useful.
I don't think this is super
card,
relevant for like competitive form, but I'm sure there's EDH people that, right?
I was gonna say this card feels like a 0 in limited, a 0 in 60 card formats,
Yeah.
and like marginal in like Commander. Maybe Commander people are more into like, this is my Chimera deck. Everything is everything.
I just feel like Llanowar Elves is secretly a sheep.
Exactly. Deep down in my Island of Dr. Moreau fantasies.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. What is the black one? It's Leyline of the Void.
Yep.
Remember this was like a $30 card?
Oh, you mean when I bought mine? Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And now, like, it seems like there must be some subset of like players that just love ley lines. Because I feel like we just get like ley lines all the time.
Yeah.
It's like you get Leyline of the Void plus like 4 things that they're trying to make as iconic as Leyline of the Void.
Right.
They just need to make all the ley lines exile your opponent's graveyard.
And then they'll all be relevant.
Then they'll all be relevant. It won't matter.
Well, speaking of relevant, we have the relevant one of the cycle.
Yes.
Leyline of Resonance is 2 red with a leyline text. And whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets only a single creature you control, copy that spell. You choose new targets for the copy.
This card is stupid.
Yeah, I agree.
It is. So, for those of you who don't know, apparently the most played deck in Best of 1 is the mono red pump spell deck. And it can kill you on turn 2 with the leyline.
Yep.
And like, I don't think it's that hard.
It's not. I have killed people on turn 2 with that deck.
And apparently, so it's in Best of 1, and it's also maybe the most played deck in Best of 3 standard.
I haven't really messed around with Best of 3. I could see it.
So like there has been a like change in Magic design over the last few years where like there are so many more cards that like, or games that just kind of like break into like kind of like a high rolly kind of situation.
Yeah.
Right? And like ley lines by their nature are like high roll kind of things, right? Right? Like, oh, if I have the Leyline of the Void, my opening hand, your deck doesn't function.
Right.
But if I draw it on turn, but I draw it as the first card for my turn,
awful.
It's awful, right? And like this has that same thing, but like you just die on turn 2.
Right.
And I mean, and those red decks don't need much help.
Oh, but they got it.
They got it because like with this, I think like there's just a lot of ways to kill on turn 2, right? Like,
yep. Yeah, Cacophony Scamp and like a pump spell kills them.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, it's Cacophony Scamp. You can sack it.
Yeah.
But I was like even thinking like,
or you can play the Sellsword with your Heartfire
with the mouse. Yeah. That's a Pioneer deck.
Yeah.
Is like it's the most played Pioneer deck is red black, like pump spells, which for anyone who cares, my build of Enigmatic Incarnation somehow wrecks that deck. It's unbelievable. Like I just play it and like the games are close, but I just get to a point where like I just keep winning them, and I'm like, Like I should be getting it destroyed. But I just keep being okay, and I'm like, huh. But yeah, like this doesn't. This just feels like such a bad design for like anything like beyond Commander, right? Because like in your Commander like Voltron-y, like spell slingery pump spelly deck, okay, fine, cool. Like you kill one person and then everyone else sees the carnage and they just kill you,
Yeah.
right? But like in a 60 card format, you kill one person and everyone sees the carnage and they have to just play you the next round.
Mm-hmm.
They can't do anything about it. Yeah, but it's one of those cards that just like you put it down and then you're just like, hmm. Like you put it down and then it's the opponent, you're just like, this game is not going to be fun.
Yep.
Right? Like I'm not going to play Magic.
Basically.
And like I'm in standard, I'm supposed to play Magic. Like if your opponent goes like Urborg Dark Depths Hex Mage, you signed up to not play Magic.
Right.
You were trying to like double grief me then psychic frog me.
Yeah.
Right? Like we agreed to the same shenanigans.
Right. We
But if
both
you're
want to play
like,
as few turns as possible.
yeah, but if you're like, hey, I'm gonna keep this hand because it has a 3-drop, right?
Good luck
And then
getting
your
a 3 mana, nerd.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And your opponent's just like, this cacophony scamp go. You're like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna play my tap land,
Yep.
and
You're
they're like,
dead.
sweet, you're dead.
Yep.
Like that's just not cool.
And the green one is Leyline of Mutation. 2 green, Leyline text. You may pay Wooburg rather than pay the mana cost for spells that you cast. Probably equally as playable as the blue one.
I just want to point out, I don't know if I said this already. These are literally all zeros for limited, like 100% zeros.
Yep.
Right, like because I've been thinking like I've had drafts where like I open one of these as my only rare,
Yeah.
and then I get past one, and I'm just like,
What are we doing here?
So like I don't know who like the red card, the red one and the ley line are playable in constructed.
Mm-hmm.
The other 3 are basically zeros.
Yep.
And the black one's just a reprint of a card that we have like legal in every format but standard before it was printed.
Yep.
And then we have a bunch of graveyard hate, so it's not like we needed Leyline of the Void.
It also doesn't see nearly the play it used to.
Yeah. And the red one is just like dumb and it's probably gonna get banned.
Wouldn't surprise me. It's just kind of ridiculous.
Right. It's very similar to what was the green Leyline that got banned? That like doubled your mana.
Abundance?
Yes, Leyline of Abundance. Right, this is kind of the same kind of thing, right? Where like if you draw that card as your first card of the game, awful.
Yep.
Like unplayable. But if you have it in your opening hand, you just win all of those games like going away.
Yeah.
And like it's so polarizing as to like, it's almost like a Ragavan or like a whatever pride. What is it? I want to say Ocelotl, but that's not right.
Oh, Ocelot. Yep.
Ocelot pride, where it's like, oh, I had this in my opening hand and I was on the play. Oh, I win.
Easy peasy.
Right, and then like, oh, I drew it on turn 3. Oh, this draw is awful.
Right.
Right, where like now you're like, these are all like those two are kind of the same way, and then the other ones are like, not for anyone. Like they just must be for like commander players, but like who?
I don't know who's doing this.
Yeah, like, and there's like Fist of the Suns does this green thing.
Right. And Joda.
Joda. Yeah, Joda does it.
All right. Next cycle is Cyclers. We don't have to talk about all of them. We probably only need to have an example.
Yep.
The example is Spectral Snatcher, 4 black, 6/5 for a spirit. It has Ward, discard a card, and Swamp Cycling for 2. All cycle for a basic land of the color that they are. They're good for limited. The only reason I wanted to touch on them is because it seems like we're getting these very regularly now.
Mm-hmm.
And I
There
don't
had
know if there's like a critical mass of them that is going to occur where it enables something. I tend to think that like maybe that already happened if something was going to happen, but
I think the issue is like what we have found is land cycling for one is too good.
yeah.
Land cycling for two is not good enough. So but also this isn't basic swamp cycling.
Oh, that's
You
true.
can get duels.
You
So you
can.
can get duels. So this has the same text as like Lorien revealed,
Yep.
but it's two instead of one. In limited, like the black one and the white one are much higher value
Because you can reanimate
because
them.
you can reanimate them, and like the black one is pretty good to reanimate with the ward,
Yep.
but like Troll of Cause of Doom just being like one mana
Yeah.
is so much better because like you might be able to talk me into like in Legacy if this was one mana,
Mhm.
would I want a 6/5 with ward discard a card or a 6/5 that's hard to block? It's like I don't know, they can swords your troll like this, like you 2-for-1 them
Right.
at least. So yeah, these are these are cool,
Yep. They
but
exist.
yeah, like yeah. And
We have
then
one more card.
Brian's commander card.
Brian's Command.
So this is Ancient Cellar Spawn. It's one black black for a 3/3 horror. And each spell you cast that's a demon, horror, or nightmare costs one less to cast. And whenever you cast a spell, if the amount of mana spent was less than uh, its mana cost or its mana value, a target opponent loses life equal to the difference. So
Hmm.
this is only legacy. This is like legacy corner now.
Yeah.
What's the mana cost on Force of Will?
5.
Yeah, so you counter their spell and you five them.
Snuff out.
4.
Yeah.
Kill your thing, take 4. Leyline Binding is 6.
Yep.
Exile your thing, 6 you.
Yep. 5 you.
Right? Or oh, is it less than it?
It's
Yeah,
the
sorry,
difference,
5.
yeah.
Yes, it's the difference. So 5. Um, how does Murktide work? Like you're paying the mana cost with the delve,
This
right?
specifically asks, oh, mana spent.
Mana spent.
So
So
delve is not mana spent.
it's cost reduction,
Yep.
right? Because you're not paying
Right.
the cost, you're reducing the cost. Right. So like Tassiger.
Yep. Gurmag.
Yeah. So like just a thing that like I mean, blue black frog is like the hotness,
Mm-hmm.
right? You play your frog, do some frog stuff, then you get this thing down and you're like, daze your thing, take 2, force your thing, take 5,
Game
snuff
will
your
end
thing out, you're
quickly.
dead.
Yep.
Yeah, you're dead. Like, okay, cool. I had fun.
Yep.
I can pay for this daze. Yeah, you took 2. Now I'm gonna snuff the creature out that it resolved and you take 6.
Yep.
So yeah, like again, don't know how many legacy heads there are, but this was the like hotness out of the commander product
Yeah, no, it's a
was
cool
people
card.
talking about this. Yeah.
I like it.
Like the first line of text means nothing, but then the next line is where all the action is.
Well, it makes your Luris cost 2 mana.
We're in vintage.
Sure.
This can't be in your deck. You can't companion your Loris with this guy.
Oh, that's true.
He needed to just be
Yep.
black black. Then you could companion him with Loris.
Yep.
So yeah, so there you go.
There you go.
That should be all the cards now.
That is all the cards. So next week we will put together a little commander talk. We
Yeah.
had recorded that already, but somebody was sleeping at the wheel.
We can we can maybe do a little bit more research and have like an extra week to see how things like fall out.
Sure. Yeah, maybe there'll be another announcement or something. Maybe it'll give me some time. I think they had like a live stream, right? Maybe I can
Yeah,
find some
there's
time to
if
watch that.
on Twitter, well on Reddit, I don't know where on Reddit, someone like did like a like one page like kind of like highlight summary of the whole thing.
Yeah.
So like that's what I read. Like Saffron Olive like tweeted that out.
Okay.
So like it's just like kind of the one page about like kind of the big takeaways.
Okay. Well, that'll be
And like
good to check out.
yeah, if you don't have like an hour to watch like the whole thing.
Yeah.
So all right. So with all that, I think we got a show.
We got a show.
Um, so if you want to reach out to us on social media, Facebook, Discord, Twitter, all that stuff. So you know we're gonna do Commander Talk next week.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you have thoughts or like some things you think we should like look over before we do said Commander Talk, let us know.
Absolutely.
Help educate us.
Yeah,
Tell
we're
us
also
why all of you casuals want to win so bad.
we're also like not Commander players, obviously. You guys all know that. So this might be like one of the very few times where you can ask us Commander questions if you want, because typically we don't do Commander stuff.
Yeah, we will be thinking about the format.
Yeah, if you got Commander stuff that you want talked about in general, or thoughts on the news, or thoughts on our picks for some of the cards we talked about in the set review, hit us up. Like Brian said, all the links for that stuff are in the description down there. If you are looking to support the show, you can do so via our TCG player affiliate link, CasualTryHard.com/TCG. Surf on over there, do your shopping, and support the show at the same time. We appreciate it. More directly, you can support us at Patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG, where you get access to our, albeit short this week, unshow. Typically, it's about an hour. You get access to that, so you get more content out of us every week. You also get a sneak peek at our show notes. You know what we're going to be talking about, and you get to support us. And everybody likes it. A win-win-win-win-win.
A win-win-win-win-win. Yes. All right. So with that, we'll catch you on the internet.
We'll catch you on the internet.